Right?
Hello and howdy, welcome. Good Friday, everybody. How are you? Oh my goodness. I couldn't be more excited to be here with you. My name is Alyssa Nichol. Today with me, I have two stellar panelists and two amazing guests. So let's get to it so we can talk about the topic of the hour. Justin, how are you today, my darling?
I am doing great on this Friday. How are you?
So good. So good. I'm gonna make you a little bit bigger. Make me a little less large. Okay. Mike Brocky. Hey, how you doing? Oh, you're over here.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, that was a beautiful Friday voice. Thank you for that
It was a little
treasure.
Kermity.
I
A
know.
little bit.
Yeah, but you guys know the TikTok of that dog who's got the long nose and he goes down the Pringle can. No, nobody. It's
I,
fine.
I, I think you have too much free time though.
Listen, the way I choose to detox from this is just perfectly acceptable. Sander, welcome to the show. Guest number one. How are you doing today, darling?
I'm doing fine. I took this picture where I'm disappearing out every
Mm-hmm.
now and then
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
earlier today when I in Port Louis on Mauritius. So I'm on my holiday and I made time for you guys to join the show,
Oh my goodness.
which I
Oh my
love to do.
goodness. Oh, we love you,
We
Sander.
appreciate it.
Oh, and with us, guest number two, certainly not least, though. Jeffrey, how are you doing this morning?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Good.
I'm not on holiday, and this is just my normal background.
Okay. No holidays here. Normal background. And is it morning for you? I totally made an assumption.
No, it's almost evening. It's 6 o'clock in the evening.
There you go. There you go. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I'm so excited about form validation and learning a little bit about what you have created. But before that, do you both want to introduce yourselves just real quick for the audience of like, who are you and where did you come from? You know, these sort of things.
Hi, I'm Sander. I'm a little GDE from the Netherlands, and I know a little about Angular and form stuff and
Yeah.
some other things. I've
Okay.
been talking about signally stuff, but that is not the topic of today, so we will not go there.
Soon
Um,
though. Soon.
Soon, yeah, soon.
Okay. Very, very good. Very good. And Jeffrey, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, I'm not a GD. I'm just Jeffrey, and I work at a company in the Netherlands where we use a lot of Angular stuff for a lot of different apps. And I have the pleasure to work with Sander on different open source occasions.
Mm, mm. Now, is he like I read his stuff in the wild, I talk to him at conferences. Is he as amazing to work with as he is to like hang out with? Like,
Y-
or is it more of like a oh
Definitely.
no,
No,
he's
no,
coming.
it's no,
Ah!
no. No, I don't have that problem. It's
Oh,
always
that's good.
fun, always
That's good.
good, and always nice to work with him.
Amazing to hear. Amazing.
When you work with him, does he have a body or is he just a floating head?
Yeah, that's true. Because
The real answer
He
is
has a
when
body. You
I'm,
know,
I'm usually
he's real.
only I'm usually only a voice in the distant past that is saying, no, 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 not like that.
Yeah. Don't use that. Use
Don't
it
use
this
that.
way.
Thunder, do you leave comments like little tidbits for other developers coming in the future of like, don't you dare touch this, like no. No? Oh,
No, my code is such a walk of beauty, nobody dares to touch it.
Sander's like
That
the
is
human
just my-
linter.
you guys are so amazing. Okay, so tell me, form validation. I was already down. Sander, like, his catch, because I was like, I need you to come on and teach me about SSR. And that's a future episode, right? But his catch
Yeah.
was only if you let me come on with Jeffrey and talk about form validation. And I was like, obviously, yes. But like, okay, where did this come from? What is Oh, I'm going to butcher it. Validointi? Okay, come on. You're going to have to fix it for me, Jeffrey. Come on, fix it.
Valley
Uh-huh.
Dantino.
Dante.
Dantini. And now you need to look
Validointi.
what do you think it is, basically? That's
Oh, what do I think it is? Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I read on GitHub that it was a library for form validation. Is that what it is, or is that not what it is?
exactly.
Oh, thank God. I was like, I have mislabeled the episode. I apologize.
Nope.
Okay.
No. That is what it is, and we will come to that. First of it, I want to talk a little bit about template forms because some people think it cannot do advanced things. So I prepared a little simple form that might be a little advanced for some people. Jeffrey is going to share his
Yeah.
screen pretty soon and
Oh, excellent.
trying to get something on the screen, and I'm going to
Talk about it and tell us.
tell him.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see it. I see
So-
it. Mike, can you get that on the screen?
No, I'm not. I'm the StreamYard attendee. I'm not.
Thank you, Mike.
I'm
You're
not the
best.
button presser.
You're just panelist, right?
Yeah. Look at that. Look at that.
Ooh,
Oh,
I
my
moved to the
goodness.
side.
Well, look, you know what? We made a presentation, these kinds of stuff, but let's ignore it. Let's go just to the demo, right? Because that's cool. Can we see everything?
Ooh. I can.
Is it
Is this good? I
Readable?
think-
Yeah.
Let us know, chat, if not.
Okay,
It's a little
Sander,
bit
you wanted
unreadable
to-
for me, but I probably know what's there.
Okay.
Hey,
You want
Akila.
Didn't want to be first to say hi. Hey, I should get some swag to mail out to the first person to say hi to encourage them. You know.
Yeah, you gotta
Like,
claim
that
that
is-
/first right there. You know?
I guess technically I was. So
Oh yeah, that's true.
there is
Mike's
that.
like, I want the T-shirt.
Send it to me. No, I'm just kidding.
So this is you said it is a template.
Yeah.
Template form.
Yeah, this is a simple one. We are going to stop with the simple one. So Jeffrey, can you go to the template of the template-driven form?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
This one?
This is the one. Yeah, and show that on the other side. First, show off what the form can do. Go to the
Oh, yeah,
start.
sure. Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, let's do it a little bit like this.
Ooh.
We have a
Okay,
little form here. It has can you click that plus thingy there? I'm pointing to my screen so you
Is that
exactly
a
know
trash
where to point.
can? Is that a cute little trash can?
Yeah, sure. It's like this is like a proper Angular form. It has it has some things in there. There is no validation just yet because we will come to that later. So you have seen forms like this. Can you scroll down a little bit? Look, there is like a text thing where you can add multiple tags and then you can submit a form. You have seen forms like this, and this is if you scroll up, there are a couple of things there. The contact info, that is actually a complex thing. It's an array with objects in there, and those objects can be different things, which means an email needs different validation than a phone number. Small things like that. I think we are past the time that we need to explain how a simple form works. Everyone knows how to do template-driven forms because that is the only way to do it properly.
Caution opinions
What are
ahead.
you laughing about?
Wait, I was like, we didn't put hot take in the title. Someone go change it quickly now. I don't know. What is
Why
there's
is this a
always-
hot take?
Oh, well, there's always people with angriness in them who have other opinions. I don't know.
Yeah, but the thing is, people that have angriness around this thing, that is actually their problem and not really
and
my
it's
problem.
not. Right, yeah.
And also, I'm a fair listener. If they come to me with something and say, hey, but reactive forms can do this, and you cannot do that with template-driven forms, I will show them how to do it. And then if they still are mad, I will ask, why are you so mad? What is it that you are really missing from reactive forms that you cannot do? What is it you want? And then they go like, yeah, I need to be my how's the thing called? The changes, the value changes. You can extract the value changes out of a template-driven form also, which is quite easy. So,
But Sander, the
Yeah.
counterpoint to that would be, well, why not reactive forms? Why are you so against reactive forms? Not well, this is the topic of our conversation today, but that's the counter argument of if you're so against.
I'm not against reactive forms if it fills your need and if you are if you like to do extra work, they are all good for you. The thing is, for reactive forms, you have to create the whole form control structure manually. You are adding all Someone is having fun moving things around, apparently.
What? I wouldn't. I didn't want your beautiful
it was
face to
Mike.
be covered up by comments. Yeah, and actually it was Mike. I blame him for all things now. So
Okay, now I've lost my complete train
no,
of
you were
thought.
saying you have to build
And
out
that is
the
a
form.
really easy thing to do. For me.
Easy.
You said you have to build out the form controls manually if you do reactive.
Yes.
forms.
Yeah, the whole structure, the whole form control structure where you put in everything, you are building that manually. If you are using template-driven forms, Angular does that for you. So you are saving yourself a boatload of work that you are doing for reasons that are not really existing. Because you can listen to value changes of a field in a template-driven form. You can listen to value changes of the entire form in a form template-driven form. So I don't know why people prefer the other ones, but if they like it, go for it. It's not an invalid choice to make. In my opinion, it's a less smart choice to make, but that's just me.
I think the key there is that most people don't know that under the hood, both of them are using the same code. And that's what really makes it what you're talking about is the ability to do a lot of that same stuff in template-driven forms, because template and reactive under the hood, they're using these same bits and pieces that provide all that functionality. It's just that, yeah, reactive has that additional way to do it. So if you understand that, you get into the source code and figure out that those are the same, then you can realize that you can do the form stuff that you need to do, and you might not have to go and use the reactive forms, essentially API at that point. Yeah,
exactly correct. Under the hood, I think it's all form control stuff there, basically.
Actually, form controls and template-driven forms are using the exact same technology. There are just a little bit different directives that hook it up into the template in a different way.
Exactly.
If you do the template thing, then Angular goes, oh, there needs to be a form control for this form. And then you create a couple of fields, and Angular goes like, oh, it probably needs a form control for this field and for this field and for this field. And it creates all of this. And it is not magic. It's just Angular doing what Angular is supposed to do. And then people go, yeah, but I have no control. Boo-hoo. Okay. Write it yourself.
I did a talk a couple of years ago on getting into the details of how they're the same.
Yeah, it is.
It was a talk on international waters, if I remember correctly.
Might have been.
I just remember the first time that like Ward Bell said it on stage, and like there were actual people who put their hands to their mouths. Like, did he just say template driven is better? Like, and so I every time, it's not that we disagree on the panel. It's just we're prepping for the bracing of the audience,
Yeah, the thing is, people that know me know I have been telling this for since the invention of the two, that people should be using template-driven forms and not the other way. But at large, the whole community has decided that reactive forms are the way to go. And
have they? Is that really the way the opinion has? You think?
Not anymore. People are coming back, but that is what happened in the past. People were, all of the educators were going, no, you really need to use reactive forms because you have so much more control, and which was never true. It might be a little bit true in the past because there are still a couple of bugs, more bugs in the template-driven forms than they were in the reactive forms, but that was quickly solved, and that is being solved for a long, long time now. So I don't know, but let us go over the form, because can you make the code a bit bigger?
Yep.
So that I can actually read it, because okay, now the letters are actually like 3 millimeters back instead of 2 millimeters, and I can actually make something out of it. Can you go to the part where we are using the contacts a little bit lower? We have the field set. You can see this is the form that is rendered on the left. You see there is nothing in there that doesn't need to be there. It's just a field set, a legend, and then I have an app contacts where I'm handing over the entire data contacts, which is the array with all of the contacts in it. to the context form. Can you open the template from the context form?
Yes, sir.
That is a really, really big template that basically ng-force over the contacts and then uses the app contact itself. Hi, Michiel.
Hi, Michiel.
It's actually using the app contact itself, and the app contact also is like a really simple.
I go over there. Give me a sec. This is fun, Sander. You just saying what I need to do.
Yeah. And you see here you see the actual row of that is in the template in the view. You see the small trash can icon, which is just a trash can icon that I'm using. And I do a delete emit. There is nothing special there. That is plain Angular. I'm using an ng model. Did you notice this is an ng model in a sub component? 2 or 3?
3.
Context 3. Yeah, sub component. And I'm just using ng model contact type because I got it passed that down. I have an option list for the types, the email, the mobile, and so on. It's plain and simple. There is nothing really advanced going on in there. The only thing that you have to do, which you also need to do by other form things that we are not using, is do the view providers, which is a little shady thing you have to do because Angular doesn't travel up looking for a form if you are using form controls or ng models. I opened a bug for this because I think this is a bug, and some people say it's by design. Then I would say there is a little flaw in the design because it makes no sense. No, if you are putting models inside of a subcomponent that you are using in a form, why would I not hook it into the real form? I think this is a bug, but that is me. I think the Angular team now also agrees it is a bug, but fixing it is not backwards compatible. So we will see what happens. They need to rewrite some stuff for signals anyway, so perhaps this is one of the things they will fix. But you see how simple this thing is hooked together. There is nothing special. Can you open the top component, the forms? Template form component. Oh, the component itself, please.
Sorry.
Because I want yes. I want to show what is going on in here.
Okay.
I'm using a sample data service, which is just a normal thing you inject. I'm getting the data out by getting an ID. This is just like you do in normal. That is not a huge cup. You didn't distract me.
I was distracted by your inject method. I was like, oh no. Oh no. Sorry, there's a lot of hot takes
talk
going
about
on.
inject?
No, we don't want to talk about that right now. We'll talk about that later.
I am not going
have
to
spare time.
distract you anymore, Sander.
But I do want you to mention the hash symbol right there on your SDS variable, just for people.
Oh, okay, yeah,
what
you
the
know
heck
what
that's
it
all
is,
about?
but probably I need to explain. Actually, using a hashtag doesn't make a real private by using JavaScript. This is a JavaScript private, and it is a real private. It's not like a fake TypeScript private that is actually only private when you're coding stuff. But if you are using it in the browser, it's suddenly there again. No, this is like truly hidden from any point of view. So if you are using a private, you should be using an hashtag instead of the private keyword. That is just my not so humble opinion.
So being that that's a JavaScript feature and not a TypeScript feature, does
That is a
TypeScript
JavaScript
recognize it as private as you're coding?
Yes. No, TypeScript recognizes it is as a JavaScript function and it will just port it through. But you have to set the correct target, which is probably 2018 or 2018, I think.
I think
I'm
so
not
too.
entirely sure. I would have to look it up.
Mm.
Then there is a simple submit function, and I have a couple of helpers here that are basically just there because this is a demo thing and I want to show some things. I have a clear. Can you show the clear one?
Yeah, sure.
The clear is actually going over the entire form and throwing out all of the content. So you have an empty form. Sometimes your user says, "Hey, I want to create an empty thing." So this is a way you can do that. The reset is interesting. I'm replacing the data by getting a new observable with the same ID. I have a hard-coded ID in here because it is a demo. It's not a real application. So I'm allowed to have like a hard-coded ID.
Mhm.
You see, there is nothing special in this thing going on. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I have a quick question, or just a side comment about the clear, right? Like, I find myself doing this a lot, and I feel like, we have to orchestrate this a lot. Like all the validators mark as untouched, update value and validity, and you're doing it through, looping through each of those controls. It'd be really great, I think, if we didn't have to do all that as an individual developer and could just, have one thing that works.
Totally agree. Yes. I have been talking with Dylan about forms for a little while, and he asked me to open a couple of issues on the GitHub repo, but at the same time he told me, yeah, it's probably not going to be anytime soon. And back then I was, why? Now I'm getting some signals why now.
Why? Yeah.
So,
it's a good one. I like that. I see what you did there.
That was cute.
Yeah.
That was cute.
So there is going to be a form rewrite in the near-ish or not so near-ish future of Angular, and that is why I actually didn't open a boatload of issues, because it probably will be moot anyway. The whole thing needs, if forms would be running by signals, there would be so many less edge cases, only by the use of signals by itself.
Do we know which route we will go with signals? Like, will we use them in both reactive and template-driven forms, or is it only one of them that we would?
It's going to be in both, because they are actually the same code base, and if they are going to update one, they are going to be updated both. The thing is, there is going to be a rewrite of this, and I'm not sure if it's going to be backward compatible, yes or no. If no, we might have like a third and a fourth forms options. I certainly hope not. But
would it be reactive signal forms or something like that?
Yeah. Well, it's going to be like, because you'll have reactive forms, you'll have template forms, you'll have reactive signal forms, template signal forms, and then if there's like another one of like the actual rewrite that's not backwards compatible, forms option number 5, right?
Or legacy forms could also be the case. Just legacy form.
Ooh, I like that one.
I have no idea what the real plans are here, but it makes so much sense, because the problem with forms is, and I only recently realized myself what the real problem is. Angular change detection is top down. But if you are working in a form, you are on the bottom already, and you're entering something on the bottom, and that something changes validation, and now you need to push a change up in the thing, and that is not how Angular change detection works. Angular change detection works top down, not bottom up. So this is why we have all kinds of edge cases in forms, and this is also the reason we have to do this whole clear thing with clear async validators, clear validators, mark as untouched, mark update value and validity, prevent default, this whole shebang just to clean out a form. That's a little bit painful.
A little bit.
I feel
so. Yes.
I don't know. It's kind of like, it's very concise though, how you have it here. It's like all right there, and then it happens all async clear, and it's like boom. Like wow.
Well, if you have like Mike Brocky's like little fire cursor thing, then you have enjoyment of typing characters. So maybe if you love typing a lot of extra characters because you get that feedback.
Well, if you love that, you would love Reactive forms, though.
There's a lot of typing, and not like TypeScript typing, but
Oh god, that was funny.
I love it.
So,
That's why I use VS Code to even take notes during meetings and what have you, just so I can see my little
Just so you
flames
see
pop
Your
up.
little flame, yeah.
well, I actually hooked up ChatGPT to my VS Code, so it does all this prep
yeah.
for me. I just built the program, and it goes, yes, master.
I'm doing it.
Does
It's crazy.
ChatGPT just do template forms or reactive forms?
Oh, that's
Oh
It
my
does
gosh,
template
we have
forms.
to ask
I had
it.
a long talk with it, and it just template forms only.
I had a long talk with it.
He submitted so many template form questions that it
He did.
formed
That now
opinion.
ChatGPT only knows about template-driven forms.
And there's a copyright, Sander Elias.
Oh my god, I love it.
Okay, back to the topic.
Oh yeah, where were we talking about? Oh yeah, forms. So what I actually wanted to show in this form is that the form we are using here is not like a really simple form. It has like a boatload of moving parts in there. It has multiple things, and I didn't know. No one of you noticed, but this thing doesn't do validation right now.
I saw though in the one of the templates, it had a hashtag, and then it said, "I'm gonna butcher it again." Validointi, Daunty.
There is some stuff there. Yeah,
It was in there, and so I was like, "Is it validating? Is it?"
No, because I told Jeffrey to turn it off.
Okay.
So can you go back to the template?
Sure. I will create this like template
Let's
still, right?
see,
Yeah.
Where is the form? I see spinners only.
Oh, you only see. I see the form.
Oh, we see it.
Oh,
Am I
no.
talking into a
Sander.
void, or are you still hearing me?
We hear you.
We got you.
We can hear you.
I have
Uh-oh.
a
You
question.
do this face.
Sure. Let's go ahead with the question.
So if you scroll to the right on the form, you have the contact type, and then you have the field, and then there's a counter. What is the purpose of the counter?
Where's the counter? Oh, that counter.
Yeah. Or is that just a representative? Hey, I'm going to add some stuff here.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, cool.
It's a numeric
So
form field.
Oh, I'm back.
Yeah, you can just
Yay.
like here you have
Yay.
like the priority. So if you would like to have a priority in this case for some specific reason in your form,
Oh, of which one
I-
to contact first. I gotcha.
In my mind, though, I'm going to tell myself, this is how many times you're allowed to email this person. You're allowed
That's
to call
true.
me this many
Just a-
times.
Yeah.
It is for something like that. Yes, it is. I just created a small demo thing that has like things you
A
will
boatload of
see in
things.
practice.
yeah,
A boatload
works.
of things. Yes.
Option.
I'm going back to the
So
form.
This thing is actually not validating. Yeah, go back to the form. Oh, it is validating.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah, the simple form. I
Because
just removed
all
from
of the
side.
validation, all of the validation is on line 7. That is all we have to do to create all of the validation in this form. And there is actually a boatload of validation. Can you?
That seems like some wizardry. How does that work?
And also prove it.
Oh damn,
Oh,
that's
dear.
that's oh, yeah,
Like-
that's not good.
Like go to the email and type in
Oh.
something without a dot or something. Like, is it gonna yell at us? Oh, it's yelling. Ah, I see. Okay. So validation
Proof.
ID, you're passing all your data into which
We are passing. Actually, I'm promoting something that is called model-driven validation. That actually means you are going to take the content of your form, send it to a function. The function is going to check if everything is all right.
Mhm.
We can show you the function. Can you go to the sample data service?
Of course.
We are, in this case, we are using something that is called VEST, and VEST is a validation framework. I just love it because of the name. It feels so cozy and warm. But at the same time, it's also really cool because if you're going, can you go to the validator itself? It
Give
actually
me
looks
a
like
sec.
tests.
Oh, here we go. You mean this one, like the suite, right?
Yeah, the suite.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Vest works with something that is called a suite, and a suite is basically okay. Here is a model, and here are the rules for that model, and they call that a suite. And why is it called a suite? If you scroll down a bit lower, you can actually see, hey, there is something like called test, enforce. This actually looks like unit test, and you write your form, your validation as being unit test. And it checks things like your name is too short, contacts. Also, it is checking things like, okay, you have seen the contact info where we have email. Email validation is different from phone number validation, which is different from something else that could be in there. And that is all taken care of in this validation function by model-driven validation.
Wait,
What
I'm confused.
our library,
Is
Validointi,
Vest is just for testing, or Vest is
taking
for
the
the
results.
validation? Where does Vest fit in? Vest is for the testing of the validation, or Vest is for
Vest is the
actually
actual. Vest is doing the actual validating of the data.
Okay.
You hand it over the complete model. Actually, our library is extracting all of the data out of the model, out of the form, and handing it over to our function. And our function I will come to that later in the simple form, hands that over to Vest, and Vest is doing the actual validation, and it will, if you have date of birth must be older than 18, that is actually the error message, and I'm checking, okay, is the new date, I'm just checking, is it over 18, which is a simple thing to get. Also, I'm testing for the date of birth. Hey, older than 88, are you sure? That might be a warning. We are not I'm not sure. We are not surfacing the warnings just yet.
No,
that is in a future version, but because Angular has no concept of warnings. Angular only has a concept of errors. And in my own code, I'm using warnings also, and I'm hooking those up in a different ways. But there is no Angular way to do it. That's why we didn't take care of that just yet.
Hi, Rare.
See,
Rare said, is it compatible with other validation libraries like Zod? Yep.
It is.
What is this validation libraries thing? I'm not even aware that there's these validation libraries.
Me too. I'm feeling very lost.
I'm excited.
Well, there are boatloads. He mentioned just Zod. We are supporting?
No, not yet. We only support, well, by default we support AGV. AGV, yeah, I think it's called like that. The schema thingy from what's this guy's Sindoris or something like that. That's his name. I think he does a lot of these kinds of things, and but it's pretty easy to implement it. But probably we'll see that a little bit later how we could do that.
Yeah, we will go over there.
But by default we have like oh yeah, I would like to say, like, we support at least Vast and AGV, that we have some adapters for it so that you can easily just hook up this suite, that is what it's called within Vast, and you can just say, okay, this suite of things needs to be in the validation.
Yeah, can you go to the service where we are doing the hooking up? It is like a little bit on top here. No, it's in here.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. It's here. So here we do it. Like we made a validator registry service, because probably if you use this, you have maybe a couple of more forms than this. You need to register.
Most applications have indeed more than one form.
Yeah.
So yes.
Right. And you need to provide like a unique key to extract it again. And in the form template, like in the HTML, you saw the reference key sample data. So that's how we map it basically, and we made a specific adapter so that you can just put in the suite of Vast and it will work with the library.
Yeah, we have a create Vast adapter.
Walk me through the steps of like when this is running. So like I'm a user and I type an email into that, and then that hits your like template. And then does that template then call this service, or like are we waiting till the end on submit, or what's the order of things?
It works the same way Angular validation works.
Okay. So you're not going outside.
So that is basically it. We have actually 2 modes, and I would recommend for most forms to use like the full form mode, which actually means we are using the value on changes of the form itself to read out the entire thing. I always forget the name of this thing. And we have another mode where we are listening for changes on every individual one. You only want the last one if you have like a humongous form that
And
has
you need
like
to validate as you go.
no, you can do both because our library is smart enough to only update the things that you are actually changing.
Okay.
But the thing is, if you have like a huge form with thousands and thousands of fields, 2 things: 1, you're doing it wrong, and 2, you're probably better off with using the pair form field validation, because doing all of these validations over and over again will be a little bit costly. In most occasions, it's like within realms of okay, it's a micro optimization, but if you have thousands and thousands of fields, yeah, it's not going to be a micro optimizations anymore. But I think the tipping point is if you go over 2,000 fields or something like that. Again, bad design decision, but if you have a form with over 2,000 fields, don't use the full form validation, use the field level validation. And it is called like that, and you can just switch between the 2.
Have any
And
of you
actually
actually ever heard of a form that does that? Like, is this a real life scenario that has happened in our world?
Like
Yes.
2,000 plus fields.
Yeah.
Yes. Have you ever
my
worked for an insurance company or something with taxes?
Oh my
I
gosh.
don't know.
Probably banking, these kinds of stuff.
Wow. Okay. My eyes have been opened.
But I've also heard the concept of a wizard too. I mean, that's a UX issue, not so much a form issue, as far as I'm concerned.
No, that's what I meant by you're doing it wrong. You should cut up this thing in multiple
Right.
parts.
Okay. Yeah.
But I have seen those things. Yes, like a humongous page that goes on forever and ever and ever. And if you miss like one field, it goes like, oh, wrong. And if you're lucky, it will tell you what went wrong. If you're unlucky, it will put like a little red dot next to something. So you are scrolling for like an hour to find what is wrong.
Yeah.
But yes, but we are here and we are hooking up this thing to the to Angular. So Angular makes sure that it works exactly the same like normal Angular validations. We are hooking into the Angular validations to update the the status of the thing.
Yeah.
The valid status of the fields. We are using the Angular way to update that.
Exactly.
So
I'm sitting here looking for the raise hand button.
Oh my God.
Go ahead.
I've been in
put
too
it in
many
your
meetings of recent, right? Both Zoom and Google.
Just raise your hand, man.
Yeah,
We
just
can
raise-
see it.
IRL
If
stuff
I
doesn't
raise my
work.
hand, I might disappear though.
Oh, I know.
We talked about like the usability of it once everything is already set up. How do you wire it up? How do you define your test and what have you? How do you get this set up in a project? So if I created an application, I've got some forms in there, and I'm at the point where it's like, I really need to add some validation. I want to use these toolings. What do I need to do to set this up within my project?
ng add at Valentini/core. Then you just have basically the library. That's it. Then you probably want to have vest, so probably npm install vest. I think is it just vest? Yes, probably it's just
Yes,
vest
it is
or
just vest.
something like that. I can have a look even. And basically what you need to do, and maybe we can go to the simple form. Is that maybe the best part to show it a little
Yes,
bit?
that is why I added the simple form.
Yeah, I thought so. So it's you installed this library basically, and let's say you also installed vest, so you need a couple of these things. let's go to the magic. You would import the Validointi directive. This one also, and we got the model. That's basically what we just saw in the service, where you have like a model coming from a API or whatever that will represent your form.
Hmm.
Is it my echo, by the way, or is it?
Oh, I
Is it
don't
on-
hear it. Do you hear it?
Yeah,
No,
I hear it.
don't hear an echo.
Then it's probably on my side. And let me a little bit close these kinds of stuff down so that so you write the suite for your form. You inject the validation registry. You register it. You do the same thing we just did, like a simple data, create the VEST adapter. You do a on submit on the button so that when you press the submit button from the form, it will do something. Call the validate part, and then you need
actually,
to.
this is optional. I
Yeah.
will tell you why I'm doing this in my samples, because I think it's good form to check your data just before checking on. But actually, what you should do is disable your submit button as long as your form is invalid.
Exactly.
You should do both, because people will find a way to submit a form with invalid things, and this will make sure that it will not pass it to the end service. So validation, you need to be like double checking everything. Yes, it works on Blur as well.
That was going to be my question too. Thanks for asking that.
Yes.
So
it works on the validation, on the value changes, and all changes are there. But we have an option to do it on Blur also. I'm not sure we are exporting this.
No, we're not.
Oh, okay. So yes, it is possible. We are not giving you any API to reach this possibility
At the moment.
at the moment.
So basically, this is like the code, like in the component code. Let's say it like that. In the template. So this is just here for, again, demo, not anything else. Here we got the submit button.
No. The form is there because on the end you want to check the validity on the form so you can disable the submit button. That's why you're.
Agree.
Oh, you already have that in there because you said you didn't do that, but it's there, right, on the button.
I did do that, but you should do that. But even if you do this, you should still check in your commit function.
Okay.
It's an end, and that is like just a proper defensive programming. It has nothing to do with Angular. It's just
it seems very thorough, and I'm very against thorough code, but
I know, that's why you are DevRel.
He got me. Okay, so you disabled it, and that's why you're passing form. That hashtag form. And what were you saying, Jeffrey? Sorry, I totally side-railed you.
No, nothing. I was just doing some stuff. We need to register basically Validointi with a reference so that we know which function it needs to use. I think we had it should be here already, and we're done. So this is it, Mike. So basically hooking up some registry servers with the validation library you want to use, the one you want to use, not the one we want to use, but hey, go with VEST, I would say. and you need to register basically the form with Validointi so that it knows which validations it needs to run. And then
if you put the validation ID, which is basically form validation ID, is the directive we are hooking into, and then we take the ID that is there and hook it up to the validation registry to find which validation suite or validation function we need to use for this form. So it's a simple lookup of the ID in the registry, and that's why there is a registry, because as we said before, if you are doing forms, probably you have more than one form in your application, and you are probably want to validate all of them and not just one. So we have like a simple string lookup, and Jeffrey told me you have to make a unique ID for everything and then he used the sample data in here, which is the same ID as for the other form, which is, but validate it still works. So don't do this. We try to do our best, but you can have a mismatch if you use the same ID over and over again.
Yeah.
So the error messages, so the errors for the form fields, does it give back like specific error types, so that we can then in our template look for if that error of this type, like required or whatever, so that we can do text.
Yes. Go back to the component, Jeffrey. No, that's not the one.
Oh, you mean the template form? Oh,
no,
sorry.
You're on the expand the validator. Here I created a small validation function that is doing the validation. And there you see I have a result that is using validation errors. Can you scroll up to the top to see where the validation errors is coming from? We are using the validation errors from Angular Forms. Yes.
Wait, how are you using it? So you're importing it, and then what are you doing with it? What are you doing with it?
Well, actually, that is the model that you need to provide your error messages in. So that's why I created like a small function to demo how this is hooked up to the Angular stuff. I need to change around a little bit because I'm sitting on this thing way too long. I will go over the function. There is a validator function, and I'm setting the result that has like, okay, validation errors. At this moment, I have no validation errors, so it's an empty object. And then I'm saying const m is this model because I'm lazy and I want to type an m instead of this model over and over and over again. And then I'm doing a simple validation in JavaScript. It is just if name length is smaller than 3, I'm saying, okay, result name must be at least 3 tokens. Can you hover over the name thingy?
Like
hovering with your mouse over the red area on the
right?
Sorry.
Name is too short.
Oh, I'm not seeing that, but
I don't see it either. Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, but
it's like
on my screen there's a tooltips thingy.
There's something. Sometimes when you're sharing just a window that it doesn't show hovers.
But it is there.
Okay.
Trust me.
Tooltips.
There is hover there. Actually, I had to go. I created a special hookup thing because Angular disables this usage of the browser, and I re-enabled it with a directive that is not part of Validointi, but you can find it in the repo and reuse it. I had to teach this to Jeffrey like a couple of weeks ago because he was having a similar problem in his own application.
So in Angular Forms, when we want to have our if we make a custom validator, we just have to return either this, object, empty object, or we can return an object that has properties on it that allow us to like specify the error, what error scenario happened. And those can be whatever we want. So like on line 40, 43, and 47, you're saying, hey, there's a name error or a password error or a confirmed password error. And now in our templates, we can check for, does this error exist of type password? Then we know we can display whatever.
In model-driven validation or in model forms, those things are the names of the inputs.
Yeah,
that is how Angular hooks those things up, and it makes sense to name them to use the convention. Use your property names for those things, so it's all neatly easy to follow along. But yes, if you open the template, do we have the template in the same thing? You will see if you go to, there is like the input type text name, and it has like ng model name. So that is how it hooks together. That is how Angular hooks it together. So if this model gives an error, you have to set the name. That is how Angular validation works. It's not something I came up with.
Rares was also asking about dynamically generated fields. Like, how do you integrate it there? Do you have any comments on such a thing?
Oh, sure. I think the dynamically generated fields, you mean like the context form where I'm adding rows and rows and rows dynamically? You mean it like that? Or do
I
you
assume
mean
that's what he means. Because, like, Jeffrey, can you go back and show that one where you're like
Yeah, sure.
making
Yeah.
new fields on the spot? Yeah, he said yes.
Oh, wait. You want the tags or which one do you want?
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't-
show the
I,
tags.
I didn't know there were multiple. Fancy.
There are multiple. We have tags. This is the tags. Can you show the selector of tags? I cheated.
Oh, sorry. Give me
The
this one.
selector. Do you see what I did there?
Hang
Ooh,
on.
that is naughty of me.
I'm still processing. What am I looking at? So this is your
I
selector.
disagree. I
What?
don't think it's naughty. I think it's
Oh,
it's
I
using
thought you
the
were
power
saying.
of the selector.
I thought you were saying don't do this, but you like it, Justin. You're for it.
No, this is actually a proper thing to do. The only thing is,
And,
put a comment in your template because you will confuse the hell out of yourself. That didn't happen to me at all when you're looking for those things. Can you add another tag? Make it a
Sure.
little bit.
Yeah, it's
I
getting hard.
see.
So
There's a button.
So can you type Angular in tag 2?
Oh, that's cheeky.
Whoa! There are 2 invalid now because I cannot have the same tags.
I see.
And I always like to do a sample where I put an A and then an AA and then an AAA, so you can see the things going.
Huh?
Hey.
Oh,
that guy.
I see. I see what you're saying. I also feel very lied to.
Hmm.
Because you were all like, we do not check individual form fields here in this world. And you're checking them.
I would not do
individually.
the individual form fields. You can, and we make sure that it works, and it works like this also. But there are some edge cases where this is where checking the fields individually
Hmm.
is going to be surprising to devs, and I don't like surprises. So only do this if you are having.
So these are dynamically generated form fields. Are you doing anything weird or different to validate them?
No, because in the validator, I'm saying, hey, this thing is an array of strings. Check if it's a string. Oh, and by the way, those strings need to be unique. So test if it's already there. And it's probably there, tags. By the way, I had to go to the outer of Vest to get this thing going because there are a couple of bugs in Vest. They are fixed now.
Are you guys friends now? You're like buddy with.
Oh yeah,
the
he
Vestas?
liked me. He was. I was getting.
You didn't take him off.
No, I was getting. Hey, I'm just getting started by Vest, and I want to do something like this and this. And he said, whoa.
Whoa.
Chill down. What do you need to do? And I said, I just have an array and I want to check it like this. And we had to go back and forth like a couple of times to get a system that was working. And it was actually a really nice exchange. And we were both happy with it because I had something that worked. And he had a new experience with people that are doing things in a slightly weird way, apparently.
Didn't we also have type issues? I think it was, right? Like in the beginning, we didn't get any type things from Vest. We also fixed it with them.
No, there were some
something
bugs
strange.
in Vest, and
Yeah.
I've been working with this guy and talking a little bit with him, and there was like a better release, and then those problems were gone. But go back to the form, the template form, where we are going over the context. Yeah, that one. Scroll down. It's
the
almost
context?
on the bottom. No, not
Do you
the
mean
context, the text.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. Here's the text legend. Here's the plus button that we magically created.
I meant
here's
to give you guys a wink, whichever one chose to use the legend. I was like, that's cute with the field set. That's cute. I like that. You don't see it very often.
Semantics.
People don't utilize the semantic built-in properties of HTML, and I'm like, hey, I see you there, right? That's my. That's
I think that's the only way to write proper applications. But at the same time, I feel like shouting into a desert there. But, okay.
Desert.
Do what you preach. That's all you can do.
Oh,
Yes, semantic HTML is really important. This form will actually work perfectly right in a screen reader.
Screen, that's accessibility, right? Big key
It
there.
is fully accessible. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I didn't do anything special there, except for not using divs or other things that
Shouldn't be there.
don't have that shouldn't be there. I'm using a field set. I'm using a legend. I have a button that is actually an action. So use a button for an action. Use
I like. Plus, it's sexy. I
anchor
mean,
for a
look at
link.
that. Look at that form field right there. Like, right? Yeah. I'm down.
Well, look at what I'm doing in the label. We have a label.
Oh yeah, let's see the label. Where is it?
There it is. Label. I have an ng4 list tag of data tags. Let index is index. Tag is tag. Index is index. That's it.
And we're good to go.
And I'm having like dynamic forms on a primitive string. This is like an array of primitives. It's not an array of objects, and it is working.
Oh, is that the comment you were talking about on 103? Your comment to self?
Yes.
Yeah. That's cute. I like it.
Because if you're looking at this, you go like, where did I put the input of this tag? I cannot find my own crap.
Oh God. I hope you both saw Rare's comment, because this is mind-blowing, and I appreciate you both so freaking much for all of this. What were you going to say?
You're more than welcome.
I do have a question. We've kind of seen this architecture around this entire form, or these entire forms that we're putting validation. Is Validointi going to support being able to do it on a micro level, where I want to just put a validator with a component that I'm creating for a form field? So say I want to create a date of birth component, and I want to be able to ship that and use that elsewhere, and I want to have it all built-in validation that comes with it. Can I use it for that?
That is not the use case I had in mind while I was building it. I would have to take a look. My initial answer would be yes. So probably
I think it would be doable. Yeah.
Yeah. As long as you, the thing is, if you do that, you need to hook it up to like a single field and not like to the form. And the whole design is hooked to the form.
To the form.
So and not like an individual. I get what you're saying, and you, we weren't.
Could you make an issue? Could you make an issue like on the GitHub repo? We can just make it.
Yeah, but we would welcome a PR for this.
Yeah, but as long as you know that it's not that I have an issue with it, it's that I have a suggestion. So I'll put it under the issues, but it's not actually
raising hands. Raising hands.
Oh my gosh, Mike!
Mike.
I did it. So to that point of like smaller use cases, I'm going to go to the extreme. Do you ever see a scenario, obviously you're a fan of this, where you would not recommend using this library? I've always preached the idea of anytime you bring in a dependency, be critical and say, do I really need to bring this in, or is it a small enough use case that I don't need it? So do you see any scenarios?
Well, if you don't need validation, don't bring in this library.
But what if you do need like a minimal amount of validation? Would you?
If you need a minimal amount of validation, check if your validation is catered for by normal HTML validation, because actually forms are supporting things like min and max and like patterns, and there is actually already a fair amount of small things in there. Just use HTML for those things.
Okay, so for example, say I am running a sign up form, and all I need to do is capture your name, your email, and a brief bit of text. Then for something like that, just use HTML validators, and it's not really necessary.
No, exactly. And Angular has some like built-in validation. Who the hell is calling me?
It's me. I wanted to ask you that question on the phone.
It's a really good question.
Like, so I have a new one for you.
I have no idea why my phone was flapping. Okay.
So
I would
know-
say if you need a little bit more than the defaults, like the default form validation stuff that is in the HTML or within Angular, probably
Mhm.
then you would lean to this package,
Mm.
ish.
Yeah.
And again, it all depends on your situation, because if you just have one specific field thing, you probably could write your own validation function, in the component or something like that. But if it's a lot more and you need complexer things,
Mhm.
I would use it.
I would basically, it boils down to this. If validation is part of your business logic, you should use a library like this.
Mm.
Because I truly believe that validation is a part of your business logic, and it has no point to being in your template, because it is not part of your template. It's part of your business logic. So what we created is a library that allows you to hook up validation, business level validation, to your Angular form by the use of one directive with one string lookup, and you're done. We are doing all of the hard lifting for you, and we make sure that those things are propagated into the view.
Mhm.
I really like the way that you
Yeah.
said that, because I think we lose track a lot. Sorry, Mike. I jumped in there. I didn't raise my hand. My bad. This was school. I'd be busted.
We've literally never
Go
raised
down
our
the hall,
hand.
see the principal.
It's never
No.
been a thing.
Right. That's a new thing. So, dang it. Now what was I going to ask?
Oh.
I
like the way
respect you having
said
your
that
hand up,
because
though.
I think that we lose track, right, of the fact that like all the DOM and all the browser is doing is it's either rendering content, whatever we tell it in the DOM, or it's just receiving input from the user, right?
Yeah.
So like it's just saying, hey, I give you a field, type in there. And from
Exactly.
there, all the other stuff is business logic. So the more we can separate, like you said, that the UI responsibility from that other stuff and really understand what the DOM is actually doing, then I think we put in a better world, right?
Mm.
You see, this is like a humongous form with a boatload of validation in there, and there is no cruft whatsoever in the template.
Mm.
The template is really clean. It uses nice semantic HTML, and that's another thing. If you use something like Vest, you can also use this on your server. If you have a Node.js or a Deno server, you can just reuse the things on your server. I'm actually looking into. I'm not going to go there though. I might have a surprise for this in the future. Mike, go ahead.
So one thing, especially with the idea of reusable validation on the server and on the client, what about the testability of the suites, especially from Vest? Are you able to write solid comprehensive tests against the validation logic?
Yes. A validation suite is more or less like a pure function. So you feed it in a model and you are getting back results. So it's pretty easy to test. You just give it a model with false values and you expect the error you are going to suspect, and you can basically make sure that you cover 100% of the code there. So our Vest suite is very testable. This is a little bit out of scope of our library, because testing your validation suite is like a concern of the validation library you are using. We are promoting Vest because we really like the way Vest works, and it has like nice things like, okay, those things are really easy to test.
Yeah, it's also easy with an API call. Vest hooks up easily with these kinds of things that you need to do a call because of an email validation on a specific database thingy, and it will return like the server error or the error that the server provided when he checks the email address, and it will do the same thing we all saw with the suite. Basically, you need only to do what is it, another function from Vest itself.
Yeah. Also, one thing that I didn't mention, but it is really in the whole thing, all validation is done async. So it is never blocking. It will always run, and there is no difference in like, okay, we have sync validation, have async validation. And before you start like, yeah, but it is going to take a long time. Yeah, but you're not blocking the user, and the validation will show up anyway.
Interesting.
And if it's taking a long time, reconsider how you're doing this. because probably if it's taking a long time, you should not send off your entire thing to your server, validate on the server, then get it back, and then put on the validation errors. Sometimes that is what is needed, and this is a use case we are easily enabling. I made them always async because it is just easier to grasp, and it is way harder to mess this up.
That sounds like a challenge.
I was gonna say you underestimate my ability to mess things up.
2,000 form
Not
fields.
really,
Here we
Mike.
come.
No, it's harder to mess up because you are not going to block anything if you do something strange in there. Just your validation will be late. Worst case scenario, validation will never finish. You will not be able to submit your form if it's not validated. I would say that is a program error.
I've got a lot of those. Oh, you said programmer. I thought you said programmer. Sorry.
Yeah, both. In the end of the story, a programmer wrote a program so that he could have extra bugs.
Oh my word. This is so flipping cool. Okay, I shared out the link to the GitHub repo earlier, and then I also shared out what I hope was the right Stack Blitz link, because it said Jeffrey. It was labeled Angular Error. Oh, that's not it. That's it.
Yeah, let me. Oh wait.
Okay,
you sent it.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I am going to resend out. That way we have the proper one with all the examples for people to put their little bits into and check out all the codes. I am absolutely like this comment right here. Like people are still mind blown from your selector. So thank you, gentlemen, for schooling.
We can show how the thing internally works, the tag thing, because there's actually a nice sample of how you can hook up those primitives inside of a model-driven form.
Are you talking about internally?
I had to do some hand wavy things there before I got it working. Okay. But once I got it nailed down, I cleaned it up and I was, okay, this is not bad. This is something I can tell other developers this is a thing to do. So I don't know if someone can put up the code once more.
You want, what do you want? Do you want the core?
No, I want the text in the text component in the stacklets. I'm totally messing up everyone's evening now or morning.
I don't feel messed up.
I'm gonna interrupt real quick. I need to drop.
I did not do. Okay, bye, Mike.
Bye.
Great talking to you.
Have a nice working day.
We'll do. Enjoy your vacation.
Yeah, I will enjoy my vacation, and I will think Mike is working now.
Mike is working, which makes it all the sweeter. Bye, Mike.
Bye.
Yes, so you're showing us the internals of the.
Do you want the text?
This is the text one, yeah.
Okay.
This is the text. This is not like smallish for me at all.
Oh, sorry. It's better.
That was so cute.
Yes, a little bit.
No, that's beautiful.
So, actually, my component itself is the label, and I'm doing. If you see on line 26, it is display label, and now suddenly my component is a label, which nicely works inside of a form, and it nicely formats with the rest of my CSS. If you are interested in the CSS of this, go look, because there is a really tiny amount of CSS, and you have like a pretty, well, I would not say awesome looking, but the form itself looks.
You're hurting my head. My component is a label, and then you go and use that label to do your nested bits with your dynamic bits.
Yes, that was what I was going to.
Okay.
So my thing is the label itself. I have a span tag is index. That's why I needed to pass the index, because I need to. If you scroll back, you will see there is a tag 1, a tag 2, a tag 3.
Right.
And then I'm doing a name is okay. I'm creating a string with the index in there.
Mm-hmm.
and I have a placeholder, and I have a ng model is tag, which is utterly unsurprising. But this hooks up with the correct validation. You have seen that the going up and down. So you see how powerful template-driven forms are.
I love it.
And hooked up with like a proper validation library, you don't end up with any cruft in your templates. You can just use semantic HTML and have a nice looking, I think this form is pretty nice looking, form that is working all the ways you would expect a form to work.
Okay, I'll come in 1 second, baby. I got told by my 4-year-old to come look at what he's built. So, oh my goodness.
So your 4-year-old is go like, "Hey, mom."
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I've been building Legos in here, and you're not here to see it. No, they have
you said
off
the top of the hour, Mom.
I know we have off Good Friday or they have off from school, and so he's using his time wisely with Legos apparently. But one day I'll get him in here coding soon. You'll see. Oh my goodness. So Sander, Jeffrey, do you have any picks before we wrap? Anything other than the amazing library that you've built that you want to point out or shout out to?
I actually have a pick. I think Angular as soon as like a nice episode on SSG and SSR. So that would be a pick. And I have another pick, which is the RFC about signals.
Ooh. Did you say the error C?
RFC.
RFC. I was like, is he attacking signals now? I got you. The RFC. That
Of course. Go there. You can upvote my comments because...
Oh, I don't know, Rares. He might be. I'm assuming it's Legos, but watch me go in there and he's got a little HTML form going. Like,
I did build a form module like years ago. I did a talk on ngconf about my own forms module. Go see that if you're interested. It's available. I'm not putting it out as an NPM library because I don't want to maintain it, but it is working. And it is like a true observable forms module. That actually works. I think I did a talk about that like years ago in here too.
Is it reactive or template?
It is reactive.
Oh, is it?
In the template.
What?
It is actually true observable forms. I call it observable forms because that's what it is. It's a forms module that is entirely based on real observables. You can put in immutable data in. It gets immutable data out. So yeah, I created our forms module.
Oh, I put the link of your upcoming show for SSR versus, did you say SSC?
SSG?
C for, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. That's totally
server-side generation. But actually, I was considering, and it is actually like build time generation, but we don't have a nice acronym for that.
We'll make one. We're just going to start using BTG, and then people will have to. Yeah, they'll have to accept it, right? Like that's how it works.
Yeah, you got to Google that first to make sure it's not something else.
Oh God, I'm so bad at that. I just like go and start using, and then people are like, that's a thing, right?
Right.
Yeah. And this is the RFC to Angular signals. So check it out. That was his other pick. What were you going to say, Sander?
I would say standard template something. Directives, but yeah, that would also be like a terrible acronym.
Yes, it's very funny. Jeffrey, darling, do you have any picks, any links for me?
Yeah, sure. I think we all know Sarah Dresner. I hope I didn't butcher her name. And I'm reading her book on engineering management. I don't know how many people have read it already.
I haven't.
You should definitely. I'm on the, what is it, 50% or something like that. But it's pretty good, or at least for me, it's pretty good because it's all your opinion. So I would recommend that if you're like a manager or team lead or something like that. Have a look at that. And for the people that don't know, I think she's within Google these days. Even something with the Angular team or the web team, I'm not sure.
No, she's definitely Angular team now. when I found that out, I was like, all my worlds are coming together in a beautiful way. I was so excited. Oh, all right. Shorty,
Easy
what
to
do you
please
got?
you, isn't it?
Well, hey,
It's
Sander!
easy to.
Sander! Hi. I did. I think I actually teared up a little bit when I found out she was joining. I was like, it's the
Pretty
best thing. Yeah. All right. Justin, what do
Yeah.
you got? You got any picks? You got anything?
Yeah,
for us?
so the Ahsoka trailer dropped today for the Star Wars series coming up, and
Ooh.
so that's my pick. Ahsoka is my favorite Star Wars character, so I am excited.
Oh, yay. I'm going to try to find a link for you. If I could spell the word trailer. Is it this one? Did it drop today, you said?
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. When is it actually coming out then?
August.
That's horrible.
I know it's wait. It'll be here soon enough. Time flies.
Well, I am so.
I don't know. If I'm waiting for someone, time slows to a crawl.
that's a good point.
I am so grateful for both of you for the time, whether it was your working time or your vacation time. Thank you for it, and for your beautiful brains and the passion that you pour into our community. Thank you so much. We are just so grateful.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Oh, all right. Well, go enjoy your
Oh,
vacation.
can I
Jeffrey,
have
go
another
enjoy your
pick?
evening. Oh, yeah. You've got one? Tell me. What is it?
My signals article.
Oh, my goodness. Yes. That one is so good. Like, it's just chef's kiss. Like, it's really good. The level at which you brought down, because you were like, okay, we're going to teach this thing at this level, and why, the why. It always gets me whenever a developer can take us back to the why this thing is happening, right? Like that for me completes my journey and my ability to like actually accept a piece of code. I don't know why I'm so skeptical, but I'm like, unless someone can justify its existence like you did in the article. So absolutely, that one is 10 out of 10. Do you put articles on GitHub for a reason? I thought it was brilliant because you can like have PRs and stuff, but like
I can accept PR, so people could like you
Mhm.
come and like, hey, I've moved these things around because I think, and I look like, yes, done.
You can
So,
easily have discussions right now, right, on your discussions page. So it's all
Mhm.
makes sense to do it there.
No, it really does, but people still are like leaning into other like platforms, but I'm like, this really makes sense to put it here because the Angular team shouted out your article, and I was like, where is his article? And then I saw it on GitHub, and I was like, we can use GitHub for blog posts.
It comes with a Markdown engine that's pretty robust. So, like, yeah, from a content creation standpoint and
It
management,
blew my
yeah.
mind.
And then,
I
like
was-
Jeffrey mentioned, your comments and
The
discussions. Yeah, it's
discussions,
pretty,
they're all
pretty
right
cool.
there. No, it was really good. So check it
yeah,
out.
I put in a
I'm gonna
link to
that
to a discussion that I opened there. So it's really easy. I got like 1.5 question. I got a question and like a remark that I was like, is there a question in here? And then I never got a response. So
I'm 1.5 questions.
One
I
and a
love
half.
it. Oh, all right. You go enjoy your vacation, darling. Send us pictures.
thank you.
Jeffrey, enjoy your evening, and Justin, your work day. And I will see you all later in the future, either in person or online. But I appreciate you all. So have a wonderful day.
Sounds good.
Ciao.
Bye,
See you.
everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
I'm still ghosty as hell.